Planning your categories for your Joomla website may be the hardest part of the process of creating categories, articles, and menus. It is easy to create categories, but how do you know what categories to create? And how do you know how they all hook together? There's a few rules for creating categories. First of all, when working with categories, it's frequently a good idea to match the sitemap, at least as a starting point. So in other words, start with a category for your main navigation and then create some subcategories for items within that subnavigation. The articles can then be placed into the correct categories accordingly. This is a great starting point for organizing the categories for your website, but there are some other things that might impact your category structure. Permissions, particularly those relating to access control lists, ACL, can cascade down into those categories, and that may impact your organization. I'm going to go over that a little bit more later when I talk about ACL in a later video. Functionality of your website may also impact how categories are nested or created. And we'll take a look at that a little bit further in the video as well. But if you wanted, for example, group together some content to create a blog, it's useful if it's all in the same category. And that may impact how your site is organized. So let's go ahead and take a look at the sitemap for this website. And in your exercise files, I have put together a sitemap for you, which is here. So the way this looks is we start with a main menu for the website. And on the main menu, we're going to have some top-level navigation. Those items include Home, About, News and Events, Collections, Links, and Contact Us. Underneath some of these items, we have some sub-navigation. So for example, under About, we're going to have 2 additional pages, Volunteer with Us, and a page about our director. Under News and Events, we'll have 2 secondary navigation items, a news item and an events item, and then we'll have some items that fall under those. Those will be individual articles that are actual news articles and events articles. Under Collections, we're going to have 2 sub-navigation items, an item on visiting exhibits and one on the permanent collections at the museums. And under Contact Us, we'll have an item for directions. Later in the course, we'll add a second menu to this website, which will go on the footer of the page. And the footer menu is going to contain links to the privacy policy, a login, and a sitemap. So here on this sitemap, I've already spelled out exactly which categories you need to create for this website and the names of those categories. So we're going to use this to enter this information into Joomla. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my back end of Joomla here, log in. And from your control panel, you can go to the category manager, which you can get to either through this icon here on the control panel, or you'll go to Content, Category Manager, and right from here, we can click on Add New Category. And so we're going to enter a title for this category. We'll start with the About category, so the title will be About. And that is literally all of the information that is required to create a category in Joomla, simply the name. And I know that because that is a starred item here, which indicates that it's a required field. All of the other information that's here within the screen is not required and not anything that you have to complete to make a new category. To create our next category, I have a few choices of buttons up here in the upper right, and I shall explain what they are. Save indicates that I will save the information about this category and return to this same screen to continue editing. It's the equivalent of the Apply button in Joomla 1.5. Save and Close means that I will save this new category called About and return to the main Category Manager screen. Save and New means that I'll save the screen that I'm in now, creating the About category, and I'll get a blank screen to come up immediately after so I can create my next category. That is a fabulous feature that's been available now in Joomla 1.6 and 1.7 and now in 2.5. And it saves tons of time when you're creating lots of categories and lots of articles. The Cancel button will get me out of this screen entirely and no About category will be Create. And of course, the Help button gives me contextual help pertaining to the Category Manager. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Save and New. And my next item I'm going to create is the News and Events category. So I'll go ahead and type in News and Events. And I'm going to hit Save and New one more time. Now I need to make the subcategories for News and Events, the News category and the Events category within the News and Events category. And so to do that, I'll type in the word News. Now, since I want this to be a subcategory of the News and Events category, I have to make one additional change. Here under Parent, you'll see that I have 3 categories that currently exist. The uncategorized category, which means that these are articles that basically are not assigned a category, which is something a little bit fictitious because, of course, uncategorized is a category all by itself. and the About category and News and Events as well. So I would like News and Events to be the parent category for the News category. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Then I'm going to hit Save and New. And I'm going to repeat the same process for the Events category. So I'll type in Events, and I'm going to put this under the News and Events category. So I'm going to continue this process here in the sitemap, creating some additional categories: the Collections category, the Visiting Exhibits, the Permanent Collections, a Contact Us category, and I'm going to go ahead and go offline to do that, and I will see you in the next video. Did you finish entering all of the categories into the website? Let's see how you did. From here in the control panel, let's go back to the Category Manager, which you can get to by either clicking the icon for the Category Manager here or going to Content Category Manager. And you should see a list of categories here, which if you've entered them correctly, they should look something like this. So here's the uncategorized category, which was already provided for you, About, News and Events, with News and Events as subcategories. Then we have Collections with Visiting Exhibits as a subcategory. And oops, I made a mistake here. My Permanent Collections not only has some typos in it, it's actually located in the wrong location here inside of the Category Manager. And then finally, we have a Contact Us category. Fortunately, it's very easy to edit your categories once you've made mistakes. All you need to do here from the Category Manager is to click on the word, and this will push you into the editing screen. So I'm going to change this now to Permanent Collections, spelled correctly. Note that right underneath of this title, Permanent Collections, is something called the alias. The alias may be used in generation of search engine friendly URLs. So at this particular point in time, we don't have any URLs for our website because we haven't hooked up any of our content to a menu item yet. But at this point in time, we now have all those typos that I just had. They're present in that alias. So it's probably a good idea to simply erase what's here in the alias. And what will happen is Joomla will go ahead and generate a new alias for this. If you're really into search engine optimization, you can always type in your own alias here if you wish. But as far as categories go, the alias is not always used for search engine friendly URLs. It's occasionally used, and it depends on the kinds of links to the menu. All right, the next problem that we had with this was the parent was assigned to be the very top level of the website. Now what we need to do is put this under Collections. So we'll go ahead and assign that parent, and I'm going to go ahead and hit Save and Close. And now if you take a look at the structure here of our categories, you should have a very similar structure to your categories on the website that you're building. Now that all the categories are in place, it's time for us to create some articles, which I'll do in the next video.